Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to today's edition of RE392, where I take old stories I've narrated and update them to modern audio standards. This particular story is called Humanity's Hidden Quality, written by AntiMoneySquandering. I've read the reports, Admiral. I've seen the footage. I've also seen the statistics on our ships, our soldiers. So explain to me again why we're losing this war. The Boltrisk Admiral kept his gaze to the floor, his huge bulk supported by three thick, trunk-like legs. He risked a small sigh through his tusks before raising his eyes to the High Chancellor before him, a far less physically imposing Boltrisk. The High Chancellor's angry snort of derision, however, and shake of his small, ineffective tusks carved with religious iconography, denoted his rank. The Admiral leaned forward on his foreleg, bowing his head in deference. In terms of pure statistics, yes, we have the advantage, High Counselor. The Counselor snorted again, glancing around at equally unimpressive Boltrisk until they joined in his derision. Humor me, Admiral. In what areas are we superior to the mammal race? The Admiral straightened to his full height, his heavy medals slapping on the armor-plated torso. They were forged from trophies taken in combat, from enemy weapons, armors, ships. They rippled across his chest, testament to the triumphs that he'd brought the Trisk Empire. He exhaled slowly as he now defended his recent losses. Biologically, we are greater, he began, flattening his long ears to his scalp in faint disgust as he saw some lean in, eager to be told of their superiority. We are far bigger than the humans, our strength equal to at least 3 of their adult bulls. They have no natural armoring, and their skin is soft, easy to tear and break. They have no claws, and their teeth are weak, ill-suited to use in combat. Their sensory organs either match or are weaker than our own. They have no thermal vision, for instance. Unconsciously, the Admiral placed one claw-tipped hand to his head, and a deep pit between his 4 eyes, as they were taught as hatchlings. The sensor-tipped membrane resided here, allowing them to see the heat of prey. The Chancellor was a dull grey, as were all Boltrisk. He waved his scepter impatiently towards the Admiral. They are faster than us, however, he continued to mutter complaints from the galleries. That is to be expected given their reduced size. Yes, they are very adept at running away, the High Counselor quipped, to snickers and gnashing mouths. Their weapons are crude, the Admiral said, and now he looked to those gathered around him, watching as they quietened under his gaze. Many of their guns still fire solid matter projectiles. Recently, they have built more conventional plasma weaponry. We suspect from salvaged Boltrisk weapons. Cries of theory echoed around the chamber, but the Admiral focused his gaze on a female seated next to the High Counselor. She tapped one ornate tusk thoughtfully. So they are adapting then, learning from us, from others. The Admiral beat his chest in agreement, feeling a slight relief at her intervention. It was short-lived. Adapting, yes, but recently, snarled the High Chancellor, then it should be only recently that we are losing. Well, that is not the case, the Admiral finished for him, wearily. His mottled grey hide was pitted with plasma burns and scars. One of his left eyes had faded to a dull black and provided only blurred, dark images. He glanced down at the scale that covered 4 claws that had torn countless aliens asunder, countless humans. Yet still they advanced. It seems the soft skins have a quality that we did not take into account, something that we could not quantify. The chamber was silent now, Boltrisk of all standings leaning forward, waiting, listening with ears held out wide from their heads. The Admiral gazed back at them and wondered what they thought he would say. What mystical quality did this young mammal race possess that allowed them to wreak havoc through the galaxy? What trait did they have that the mighty, logical Boltrisk did not? To their surprise, he began a deep, rolling laugh, the sound reverberating from the room. Luck, he said finally, and the chamber burst into a cacophony of shouting. He closed his ears to it, breathing calmly, eyes fixed on the livid gaze of the High Counselor in front of him. Admiral Bardquell, he began, and while his voice was quiet, his rage was apparent in the gentle shaking of his tusks. "Do you mean to come before this gathering, to come before me, and tell us that these half-head, four-limbed are lucky?" The Admiral stomped his forefoot, his own anger beginning to bubble up from deep within his gut. An anger that had sent comrade and enemy alike fleeing for their lives. He ground his teeth together and spat words between his tusks. "High Chancellor, we have heard it from the captors firsthand. When tortured, when threatened, when offered their lives in exchange, they say the same. Humans are a lucky species. We always win in the end." The gathering began to grow louder once more. The High Chancellor silenced them, slamming his scepter heavily into the ground. He descended the dais before stopping just before the far larger Admiral. "Listen to me, Bardquell," the Chancellor hissed. "There is no such thing as luck. It has been disproved aeons ago. There is no lucky species. There is no inherent favoritism woven into the physics of reality. It is madness. There is no luck." The Admiral leaned over the smaller Boltrusk, who began to back away in alarm before remembering his station and the myriad eyes currently on him. The Admiral's hot breath poured over him. "I know there is no such thing as luck, Chancellor. I know the humans are not blessed in some obscure way. The problem is," he turned slightly as the doors to the chamber burst open and a Boltrus galloped into the room, "they believe it." The newcomer fell to the ground before them, tusks shaking as he drew deep breaths into aching lungs. "No," snapped the High Chancellor. "Why have you interrupted this meeting?" The younger Boltrus sucked on a couple more breaths, eyes darting between irate Chancellor and expectant Admiral. He raised himself shakily upon his 3 legs. "The humans, High Chancellor. They've broken through. They're coming." The Admiral turned and was ready galloping for the door before the Chancellor had a chance to react. He ignored his shouts, already tapping a wrist console to mobilize his flagship for action. As he cantered from the room, he bellowed back, a hysteric humor coloring his words. "May luck be on your side, Chancellor." End of story. Story number 2. We Fucked Up, written by OGGruntComm. Download complete. Playing transmission now. It was supposed to be easy. A quick adaptation for research. Kill it, destroy the body, and head back. The Council did not adequately prepare us at all for this venture. Why did my ship have to be the first to abduct a human? This human was chosen for being docile, quiet, reserved, and in the best physical shape needed. While he was patrolling the streets with his canine companion at night, it was the most opportune time to retrieve him. But then we made a decision that decided the fate of the entire crew. We did what he screamed. The moment he was notified, we eliminated his canine for contamination purposes. We fucked up. Cries of mercy and forgiveness filled the darkened hallways, and red light flashing periodically gave some light. The Zanzian patrol slowly made their way towards a single lit doorway. The body of one of their scientists is lying within the threshold. The red light splashed a message on the wall drawn in blood. Bubbles. The cry of one of the Zanzians was quickly stuffed as one of them suddenly went missing. A sickening snap is heard, and the body is thrown into another Zanzian, causing him to collapse. The human leapt onto the Zanzian patrol leader, pinning him onto the floor below. His rifle was ripped from his arms quickly, and he felt one of his arms quickly dislocated and then promptly removed. His eyes reddened with clear liquid, parting the Zanzian bloodstains on his face. The arm then came down and easily pierced itself through the Zanzian and into the composite floor below. The patrol leader's sidearm was then removed from its magnetized holster and fired into the guardsman that was just now getting up. Chunk, chunk, chunk! The blast door protecting the bridge from slaughter within the rest of the ship would bend at each impact. Due to the low gravity that the Zanzian homeworld had, they didn't have the need to form dense bones. They were hollow. Due to that, the majority of the materials that were designed or used were built to fight against an enemy with similar evolutionary restraints. This meant that for humans born in high-gravity Deathworlds, everything felt like plastic used for water bottles. Download complete. Playing final transmission now. Gunfire and yelling is heard in the background, with the occasional, "Who is Bubbles? Ah!"
This is Chief Science Arello Carithian. Whatever you do, avoid Earth. Isolate it. Set up a blockade. Make sure no one else comes in contact with them, and hope to the gods they don't notice us.
A much closer scream is heard, and then another thunk.
Oh no! He's at my door.
Sounds of metal screeching and separating is heard, followed by a, "Where is Bubbles? He's in my... Ah!" Transmission ends. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.